China, Myanmar, and Thailand have vowed to wipe out scam centers operating along the Myanmar border. Officials from the three countries have met in the Chinese city Kunming, saying that they are making every effort to rescue people still trapped inside the centers and to arrest those responsible. China is cracking down on online scams after a series of cases. The most recent one involved a Chinese actor who went missing after he was fooled into going for a casting call in Thailand. Wang Xing was rescued and returned to Thailand, and his story went viral on social media. Last week, China's top diplomat Wang Yi called a rare meeting with ASEAN ambassadors in Beijing, asking the region to take action. Myanmar's borderlands have become a hotbed for online fraud operations. Foreigners are trafficked and forced to work there as scammers, an industry that analysts say is worth billions of dollars. Myanmar's military government is also calling on neighbors to help. According to state media, Myanmar has caught and deported more than 55,000 foreigners involved in border scams since October 2023. Well, the vast majority, 53,000 of them, were from China. That's more than 95% of the total. Deportees also came from Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, and India, among others. And for more now, we are joined by our correspondents, Tan Si Hui in Beijing and Saksith Saiyasombut in Bangkok. First to you, Saksith, perhaps you can give us a quick recap about what happened the last few weeks and what's been the reaction on the ground in Thailand.
Now, the problem of scam centers in Southeast Asia is not a new one. Viewers probably have been getting one of these calls at least at one point in the past few years, but it has been a flourishing crime business. According to United Nations figures, they have raked in almost $1 billion in recent years. But why has this story flamed up again, especially in particular in the People's Republic of China? Well, because an actor, Wang Xing, has been one of those victims. Earlier this month, he arrived here in Bangkok thinking that he would be part of a casting call. The people behind them, they have lured him, pretending to be a well-known Thai entertainment company, and they have lured him to Thailand. But once he arrived here in Bangkok, instead of getting a casting call here in Bangkok, he was driven to the border in Myanmar and then over the border to a town called Myawaddy, which is a notorious crime hub where lots of these compounds exist, run by crime syndicates, many of them from mainland China, and they are forcing people against their will to conduct these phone scams and online scams. And if they don't, they might also get tortured or otherwise a worse fate might happen to them. But in this specific case about Wang Xing, the actor, he has been quickly rescued and then brought back to Thailand. He is now home, but he is just one of many Chinese citizens that have been caught in this peril. Of course, the story of him and others have gained traction on Chinese social media, with many people actually fearing to come to Thailand. The search results of people canceling their trips to Thailand has gone up as well. But we have talked to people here in Thailand that are already here, Chinese tourists from the mainland specifically, asking them what their experience has been so far. So let's take a listen.
在中国，我觉得新闻上面写的可能有点太过激了。然后我来之前我也有很多担忧，但是我来之后我觉得还是蛮安全的，并不像国内宣传的那么的过激。但是我觉得在国外总归要小心一点，但是没有想象中的、没有宣传的那么的危险。
然后我们说要来泰国旅游的时候，我的朋友其实有点担心。但是我们整体来这边，其实跟我几年前来泰国的感觉是差不多的。但是我们还是会比较注意安全，就是尽量跟朋友待在一起，然后不去比较偏远的地方。
Now, Sui, we have heard from the tourists here in Bangkok, but what has the reaction back home for them in China been like?
Yeah, it's really very horrendous what you just talked about, what Wang Xing went through. And this case, this high-profile case, reignited conversations all across China, including social media. Now, if you look at social media app Xiaohongshu, if you just type Thailand in the search bar, the first thing that comes out is 泰国安全吗, which is Thailand safe? And 泰国安全吗? 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 which is Thailand safe? And There were 250,000 notes there, and you can see social media users warning others to be careful when they go to Thailand, to stay in crowded areas, and also to search for other Chinese tourists when they travel over there, or just completely not go to Thailand. And so there is this shroud of uncertainty and fear when it comes to going to Thailand as well as Southeast Asia as a whole. Now, estimates are saying that there has been a surge of flight cancellations, 155% in the weekend, January 11. That was shortly after that high-profile case went viral online. And Hong Kong singer Eason Chan, he canceled a sold-out concert next month in Bangkok, citing safety concerns. Now, I spoke to some residents here in China, and they echoed the same reservations.
会有这方面的顾虑，如果我要出国旅游的话，可能会把泰国排到后面。
暂时不想去，而且日后也不想去，因为不安全的地方我们是没必要去冒险的。
后边对于这种在东南亚那边可能会有一些抗拒，而且好像泰国的警方对此。并没有做出特别多的贡献，至少这个我看来好像是这样，所以就会比较抗拒这个。
起码给我们的公民要加大一些普及这方面教育的一个力度吧，就是加强我们这种防范的意识，然后同时也和泰方的政府去做一些沟通和交涉。
现在这诈骗忒多了，无处不在。
So a few days have passed since that incident with Wang Xing, but discussions is still rampant over social media. What we've heard, although not officially confirmed, there was a case in Shanghai where a gym employer, he had organized a team bonding event in Thailand, and he brought 30 over employees over to Thailand for that team bonding event only to go missing. And so apparently that gym is now shut down. But again, this is not officially confirmed, but we can see that it's still very clear in the minds of Chinese residents that this is a case that is very worrying to them. But this is not something, telecom frauds is not something very new to any of us. In 2023, estimates suggest that financial losses by East Asian and Southeast Asian victims have come up to $37 billion.
Yeah, not hard to see why the Chinese tourists are still, very apprehensive going to Thailand. And Saksith, the thing is that, Thailand actually welcomed, 35 million visitors last year, and 6.7 million of them are actually from mainland China, which clearly indicates that it is an important segment of Thailand's tourism sector. So, Saksith, tell us more about that, and why is it crucial that the authorities take action?
I'm going to give you another number, $50 billion in revenue for last year as well. That is also gives you an idea why it is so important to Thailand and its economy. And as you said, the Chinese tourist segment is the largest and has been the largest in years, with the exception of the pandemic year. So you can see that Thai tourism authorities and the Thai government are somewhat in panic mode over this, seeing that these numbers might dip. And this is why they're counter-steering against it. That's why they are trying to fight the PR front, on the PR front, to convince Thai people that it is safe. And I remember that in October 2023, we had an incident here in Thailand about a shooting in a mall where 3 people have died. One of them was a Chinese citizen, and then you also had the same echo or similar echo that we have been talking about just earlier. Then, with people being afraid of coming here to Thailand. But as a side note here, we know that on Chinese social media, things exist on there because the authorities allow to exist. So in that sense, allowing content that is maybe disparaging to another country, that is also something that has to be kept in mind. But of course, the Thai authorities need to build confidence again, even though on the other side, there are already some voices and there are some legislators and lawmakers here from the opposition that have been raising questions about the visa-free scheme for Chinese tourists and other countries as well that has been in place since 2023, allowing a lot of citizens, a lot of tourists from many countries to come here in Thailand with a visa on arrival, with a rather generous visa on arrival for a month plus. So the question that these lawmakers are raising here is, by giving these generous visa schemes here, who are we actually letting in and what are they doing in Thailand? Now, even though Thailand itself is not necessarily the crime scene here, as we said, these scam centers are in neighboring Myanmar and Cambodia, but Thailand is being used as a transition country, as a transitional country, and as a staging ground by crime syndicates here. So this is the pain point and the pressure point for the Thai authorities to act against it. And speaking of acting against it, Si Hui, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Xing has called on ASEAN nations to crack down on these frauds. So what has come out of it?
Yeah, that's right. So last week, Wang Yi said that China will collaborate with ASEAN countries. China has since vowed to crack down on these cross-border criminal gangs. They say that they will rescue those trapped overseas and they will dismantle these telecom fraud dens.
中国政府坚决打击电信网络诈骗犯罪，坚决打击跨境违法犯罪活动，坚决保护中国公民的合法权益。我们也一贯要求海外中国公民严格遵守当地的法律法规，不从事违法犯罪活动。
And Chinese, Thai, Myanmar officials, they reached a consensus that they want to eradicate these telecom fraud centers in Myanmar. And they reached that consensus on Tuesday in the Chinese city of Kunming, and other Southeast Asian countries like Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar, and Vietnam. They've also vowed that they will make every effort to rescue those overseas. You mentioned that visa-free travel earlier on, Saksith, and the spring travel is coming soon. So even though I think a lot of Chinese residents have some uncertainty and some fear, but even so, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of Chinese residents going to Thailand during that Spring Festival break. So what exactly is the Thai government going to do to ensure that the Chinese residents feel safe there?
Now, we have heard from security and government officials and ministers that there is going to be a widespread crime crackdown, not only on scam centers, but also other illicit crimes and businesses as well. They have given themselves a generous time window of 6 months to see results there. But then also, as I mentioned before, that there is also efforts on the PR front to convince Chinese tourists and any other tourists that Thailand itself, and a novel way, an unorthodox way, that's something that Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has chosen. She has published a pre-recorded video, but, however, she has also used artificial intelligence to speak Mandarin and to directly address tourists from mainland China. So let's have a listen.
因此，我已要求有关当局加强合作，共同提升安全标准，并以最有效的方式打击跨国犯罪。我们将严格执法，打击非法出入境，并为旅泰中国游客提供系统性全方位协助支持，防范意外事件发生。泰国政府高度重视游客的安全，我们将努力与中国朋友加强沟通，并为所有游客建立信心。
Now, we have to stress again, this is an AI-generated video handed to us by Thai government house. This is not Prime Minister Paetongtarn suddenly able to speak Mandarin here, but it goes to show here that how important it is that they are trying to reach out here. But there's an irony here because these crime syndicates, these scam syndicates, they're using AI fakes as well to scam people. Prime Minister Paetongtarn herself has said that she has been targeted in one of those not too long ago. So apparently the best, and yet still the Thai government thinks the best way to convince people that things are safe is by using an AI-generated video here. But it also goes to show here that it's not only about Chinese tourists, it's about everybody here, and especially the problem of scam centers that affects everybody, as it affects the Chinese tourists, but it affects a lot of other people as well. Many other people have been scammed, and also many other people are being dragged into this problem here. And so this is why it became a wider problem. And so this is why many countries are recognizing that it needs a wider regional response to combat these crime rings.
Oh, the AI video we saw earlier was incredibly realistic, I have to say. It's so good having you both on East Asia tonight. Thank you so much. CNA's Tan Si Hui in Beijing and Saksith Saiyasombut in Bangkok.